Hey guys, Mr. Sowers here. Okay, first of all, why is he wearing that hoodie? Well, you've been in my classroom before. You know how freezing, frigidly, arctically cold it gets in here, uh, where I said many times I can't feel my fingers. So it's like that today. There's nobody here but me in this room, so it's especially cold, even though I have the windows open. So I wanted to do this video for you before I ran out of time, which almost feels like I am. First thing I wanted to talk about was test scores from the APUSH test that you guys took last year. Even though, our class is one of the few classes that still had to take a test, and I had to keep giving you assignments all the way up through, through May. Um, you guys did surprisingly well. I'll take my hat off to you because we had a 60% passing rate for the APUSH test, um, which was better than the rate for the county, better than the rate for the state, and better for the national rate. So, hey, we did good. So, congratulations. Appreciate the hard work you did. Hope you see that it paid off. Um, some of you guys I owe a grade change because you surprisingly even surprised me, some of you, in doing so well on the tests. Quite a few fours and fives. You guys killed it. Um, So I will do a grade change for you if you pass the APUSH test and you need the grade change. You'll have to reach out to me with some information because normally the way the grade change works is you're here and I physically give you a form to fill out with your ID numbers and your, grades from the semester that you didn't do well or this quarter, and then I put in the new grade and I give it to the administrator and they sign it, and then the registrar or whoever gets it and they change it for everybody to see. So it's a process. Um, so sometimes it takes a while, but yeah, if you need that grade change, you can reach out to me and I will do that because I promised you, and you guys followed through, and I'm proud of you for that. So. And even if you didn't pass the test for whatever reason, I think some of you, I'm surprised that you didn't, and I'm maybe, if you maybe if some of you like reached out to me because you think you wrote a great essay and you're questioning the score, um, let me know about that too. Because there was a good three or four people off the top of my head that I thought definitely were going to pass the test, and they didn't. Um, Especially since you had your notes out and you knew a lot already. So um, let me know about that. Let me know the situation with the test, what happened, what didn't happen, um, or anything like that. A lot of stuff has happened since the last time I saw you or talked to you. There's been a lot of things that happened this summer, the continuation of the pandemic, which I'll get to, um, the social justice protests based on the George Floyd killing. Um, that's something that if we were in class, we would have spent a lot of time talking about. It's something that's very relevant and has been relevant for years and years and years, and people are now saying that some of these things that we see in society are unacceptable. Um, but historically, we know that institutional cultural racism is real. And anybody who says it's not real and not a thing doesn't know their history. Um, this goes back to the late 1600s, and the vehicle for this racism was slavery. And the fuel for that vehicle was the justification of slavery, because you can't enslave millions and millions of people that are your equals. So the idea back in the late 1600s, early 1700s to stop Christianizing slaves because you couldn't take other Christians as slaves, and then to equate race with slavery, which is what happened in the late 16, early 1700s. And then the justification for, an inferior race or whatever. And somebody recently in the news, actually, I think it was a senator or a congressman from Alabama or Arkansas, I can't remember where this guy's from, said that slavery was a necessary evil. Well, first of all, no evil is necessary. Second of all, that's something that Thomas Jefferson said around 1800. So it's 2020. All right. If you say slavery was a necessary evil, what is wrong with you? And this is a person who's elected to office. So anyway, people still believe that today. Um, you know, Even after slavery ended, Reconstruction, um, people did everything they could to hold white supremacy in the South, not just the South, all over. Um, there was so many things that happened since then. We didn't get a chance to talk about all of them. Um, the way that blacks were, basically kept out of mainstream society and forced into segregation, not able to vote, not able to participate as regular citizens, and all that stuff of course, it doesn't exist to the same extent because we've grown as a society. Well, most people have, um, but we know that systemic ideology has remained because of the passing down of those ideas through culture, that about race. Um, the good news is, every negative thing in history has a positive backlash, and I think this part of history will also have a positive backlash because of people like me and because of people like you. You know, we are going to be on the right side of history. Um, as far as narrowing it down to like police brutality, um, I think people are missing the point with that because the police are just like anybody else in society. There's bad people and racists in every segment of society. Not just police. Police, 95% of police are, great people and they got into the job for the right reason. And then the 5% didn't. The bullies, um, they're bad people, just like any other segment of society. I mean, there are teachers like that. So there's plumbers like that. There's you know, it's a reflection of society as a whole. So yes, police brutality exists and it should stop. And has been specifically targeting black people for a long time. Just think about what happened before there were cell phone cameras. Oh my gosh, can you imagine how much stuff went on back then? But it's not just necessarily black. It's just the way the whole system is set up. Black people just happen to be um, um, the ones that take the brunt of it, um, and it's not fair. And um, and and it, and it has to be changed, and there has to be some education going on, not just for police, but for everybody in society in general, to stop this, to stop these situations. Anyways, I would have been curious to get you guys' opinions on everything we said. I value your opinions. I hope that you learned something from me, just like I learned something from you, and you learned from your parents as well. You can show them this video if you want. Um, the other thing is this virus, this pandemic, has is unprecedented. Um, things we it's crazy that some of the things that we skim through history and uh, to meet the goal of passing the test that we didn't spend a lot of time on actually came back uh, again to be talked about in 2020. And I'll give you a couple of examples since we were talking about race. The whole Juneteenth thing, if you remember that, uh, that's something that I wasn't very familiar with at all. Um, the idea that some slaves, I think specifically in Texas, did not get the news of the Emancipation Proclamation until, which was issued in January. They did not get it until June of that year. So they didn't even realize they were free. But when they did find out they were free, that was cause for celebration. So that's where that whole June 19th holiday comes in. that many African Americans celebrate, and not a lot of whites or even some African Americans didn't even know about until this summer. Um, and also the whole Tulsa riots, where somebody actually chartered an airplane and destroyed a whole uh, section of Tulsa, Oklahoma, what they call Black Wall Street, where they had all these black-owned businesses because there was a conflict, a race riot, and they actually hired a plane to go in and destroy an American city. It's crazy, and it was a horrible thing. But what we did talk about that in the context of, black uplift. Okay, these blacks were stepping out of their lane, um, and that happened. In the context that we spoke about, it was, it happened in Florida, in Rosewood, and in a couple of other places around that same time period. Um, the Great Migration. Blacks were moving into places where they had never been before. They tried to create a black middle class, and a lot of whites did not like that because of the racism of the day. So historically, this stuff has just, manifested itself all over again. But people, like I said, we all need to educate ourselves on the history of how all this happened. So we don't allow this to continue. Okay, so back to the pandemic. I have my stress bus because this thing is just the worst. Okay, so here I am in school. I'm trying to figure out the technology to not just Canvas, but the Teams, and try to get people on, um, to join my meetings, and then, to be able to navigate through all the systems. And um, it's just unlike anything that I've ever done or any of us have ever done. But my problem is, my technology is not great, in case you don't remember that. So I'm going to do the best I can. Um, I guess I stress over it because I want to do a good job. I want the students to like the class, but it's going to be hard, um, remotely like this. But I just felt like, and I told my wife and I told other people this, when we opened everything back up again, I was like, this is too soon. We stuck it out for this long. We sucked it out. We suffered. School was already over. Just like let's stick it out another month. But no, everybody had to get back and open up, and and here we are again. Um, can't come back to school in the middle of a contagious virus. So apparently, the decision to reopen schools will be revisited. I believe October 1st was the latest I heard. If I had to make a guess, I probably don't think we're going to be coming back until I, I'm going to guess January. I hope I'm wrong because there's no way to social distance these classes or the buses or the lunches or any of that stuff. So the way that that's going to have to happen is, the virus has to be under control, and it's not. So you guys will do the best you can. We'll do the best we can. Um, we realize it's not ideal, and you don't like it. I don't like it. I'm coming to school though. I'm not going to teach from home like I did at the end of the year. I'm going to stay in school. I'm going to be here in my class because that's where all my stuff is. That's where I can get work done. That's where I'm not sidetracked. You guys have to come up with a routine, um, as if you were really in school because that's the way the schedule's set up. First period, second period, whatever, the 90 minutes. Um, so I'll be in each of my classes for 90 minutes. I'm not teaching for 90 minutes, but I'll be available for 90 minutes. Um, and that's the way the whole thing is going to work this year. I wish it was different, but it's not. So the last thing, if anybody's still watching this video, which maybe you're not, the last thing I want to say is, I really appreciated having such great students. I'm a lucky teacher to have you guys. I will miss you. I actually do miss you. And I hope the best for you. And if I can do anything for you, let me know. Let me know about the grade changes, and things like that. The good news is you're going to have some good teachers this year. Um, you will enjoy them, and then later on in the year, you'll see everybody in person. Okay, and then hopefully you will graduate on the stage and not in a library parking lot. All right. So Good job on the APUSH test. To sum it up, good job on the APUSH test. Social justice is here. It's real. It's a thing. We should embrace it. People want to kneel, let them kneel. They're not anti-American. They're anti-racism. And the pandemic sucks. And distance learning sucks. And we don't like it. All right, let's just do your thing. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Don't make masks on a political issue. Nobody's trying to keep schools closed because we want to hurt a candidate. That's the dumbest thing that anyone's ever said. Everyone wants schools to reopen. Everybody wants everyone to go back to work. To make it political is just hurting. It's just hurting the ability to start up again. So it's not political. A disease doesn't care, what politics you are. Wear your mask, stay away from people if you can, and let's get control of this situation so we can go back to normal. Because we want everything to return to the way it was, the good old days, like 2019. Okay. All right, miss you guys. Peace, and hopefully I will talk to you in person in the not too distant future.